You are listening and watching to a very special podcast. Let's continue where we left off, shall we? Briar Devlin's point of view. Thank you. Briar and the others managed to get Gennifer to do the donation center. Gennifer hadn't really had too much to do, and also in her part-time, she's been looking for a job. When she heard that she might be able to take a job at the donation center, she accepted with delight. She always wanted to help with stuff like this, and she came from a family full of doctors and nurses and all sorts of people. So she accepted. It was at this point things were about to get darker. Lizzie managed to get the blood bags. People were coming in. Whether it was mages, gods, regalia, any sorts of people, it was that. Lizzie began to indulge in the blood bags. All of a sudden, she could absorb their abilities and she can use them. She was shocked at this. Able to use the power of fire or anything else. It was amazing. But she can also see the painful memories everyone suffers. It was a bit too much. And sometimes she would say it out loud of what she knows. When Lizzie realized it, she was careful not to let anyone know how she knew. Luckily, Briar and the other dragon slayers helped out with her, saying that she was studying from the MPD, which was great relief. No suspicion there. It was until this point, Briar suddenly got a report saying there was something going on in an apartment, and she was going to go with Kotetsu and Barnaby. So she did. While the two of them were bickering amongst themselves, Briar, Kotetsu, and Barnaby ran into a girl who told them what happened. And then a young man who seemed to be a journalist explained that he was trying to investigate the apartment too. But the thing was, the boy seemed feminine looking and nervous. Briar felt bad and decided to let the boy come. So they did. As they went up and they looked around, they could have sworn they heard a scraping sound and somebody crying. They looked over and they gasped in horror. Someone of a woman dragging herself. Her stumps of legs and arms, she was barely trying to reach. She had lidless eyes, staring back horrified. And her face looked like it had been mangled and ripped apart. It was horrifying. Briar, Kotetsu, Barnaby, and the mysterious boy rushed out of there. Briar did her best to press the button so many times to get to the elevator, to get down and get away from here. The creature came in fast and begged and cried. The poor girl was suffering. Finally, the elevator doors opened and they managed to get in, but they didn't close it, so they managed to close it all the way. Once safe, they managed to get down and get away from there before anybody else comes. However, Kotetsu realized he had his hand over the boy's ruffled shirt and apologized. They managed to get to a neighborhood where, of course, was full of infestations. There were also children there, too. The children were attacking a human mailman. There was water of sprinklers washing away the bloodbath of another house. And then an infestation woman digging open a guy's guts. It was pure chaos, but there was one house that remained untouched. It was at this point that Briar, Kotetsu, Barnaby, and the mysterious boy came across that house. There they saw a smiling man who was content with himself. He didn't care about the chaos that was going on. He was just happily just being in his own personal time. It was then Briar confronted him. The guy admitted that he was part of all of this madness, but he had to because it was for his only wife, only for her. He called her out and she came in slowly. She just stood there motionless. Briar realized the woman had become an infestation. The guy managed to get his wife onto his lap and stroke the woman's hair, telling her, "You have no idea how beautiful you are. It's just as the same as we met. I love you, sweetheart." He leaned over and kissed her cheek. Then the wife suddenly lost control of her composure and bite into his neck. But the guy kept smiling. He didn't mind as long as it was her. How the glowing of the light shone down on her sundress. However, the infestation wife chewed away at her husband's corpse. She looked up to see Briar with a gun pointed at her. Briar sadly said, "Sorry," and pulled the trigger. The four of them managed to get away, quickly as they could. However, during this time while escaping from the infestations, Kotetsu got injured after nearly scraping himself on the fence. Briar managed to help him get recovered. The mysterious boy was acting weird and getting all emotional and kept apologizing. I'm sorry." It was starting to sound feminine. Briar and the duo were confused. "Why?" Briar asked. Then the man, or so they thought, pulled out his ID. "I haven't even introduced myself. This is who I am." Kotetsu picked it up and looked at it. "Okay, Mia. You know, that's kind of a weird name, I'll give you that." However, Barnaby noticed something. "Wait, Kotetsu, remove your hand. I see something. The picture, you're covering it." "Oh, sorry." But what he saw horrified him. All three of them. "Wait," Briar said. All three of them all said, "Female!" They looked at the man, or so they thought, and they couldn't believe it. "No way!" Briar exclaimed. "You're a girl? A female? How can that be?" It was at this point Kotetsu realized he accidentally groped Mia. But Mia forgave him, but Briar wasn't, and she tried to punch Kotetsu, but Barnaby held her back. Briar complained, saying, "What was that for? Come on, Bunny. I want to punch him. How dare he?" "It was an accident," He didn't know, Barnaby claimed. Oh, sure. He didn't know. Wait until I tell Cicada about this. Oh no, that was an accident. Bunny's right, Kotetsu said. However, poor Mia was crying, begging not to return to the bad place. Briar was confused, and Mia told the story on how she was held in a brothel and forced to become a hooker. All the horrible things she suffered from. However, Mia pointed out that Maggie and her squad saved them from terrible danger. Briar had to smile. Yeah, that's Maggie for ya. But Briar said, don't worry, I promise you. Nobody's gonna find you. You're safe here. That I promise, Briar said. Mia smiled, managing to calm down. The poor thing looked so fragile, she looked like she was gonna burst into tears again. That poor girl. That poor thing. Well, that's it.